Hello and welcome to the Social Recruiting Show. I'm Katrina Collier. I'm a candidate engagement author and speaker. I'm, of course, joined by my gorgeous co-host, Audra, employer branding genius, nerd, geek, whatever she feels like being this week. Today, we're talking all about videos with Maury Hanigan, who is going to actually tell us what her first name actually is shortly. Welcome to the show, Maury.
Thanks.
No, I am, because I can't pronounce it. We need a lesson in how to pronounce your actual first name.
No. Maury's great. Maury's all you need. Just keep it simple.
Stick with that. So we're talking about video today, right? This is one topic, that I'm super passionate about. We've talked about it before. So I think the first thing, though, is to kind of establish what are the kind of generic ones that we're seeing that we don't like, right? Because I think we've talked about it before. What are some of the things you think that some mistakes people are making, before we talk about how they can fix them?
There's dreadful stuff out there. There's
I
really,
don't know
really
what you're
awful
talking
stuff.
About.
What? Oh, come on. It's awful. I'm essentially in the business, right? So I'm supposed to watch these things to know what's out there.
Yeah.
And there are times I just feel like I start to twitch going, oh, I got another minute, 29 seconds. I can't do this seriously.
Yeah.
It's awful. Every once in a while you hit one that's wonderful. And like I spin my screen around and go, guys, you got to look at this one. It's really wonderful.
Yeah.
But that's really rare. And what makes them dreadful? Primarily, the piece I go is like, when do you know somebody's about to waste money? And the answer is when they say, I need to make a recruiting video. Because the answer is, no, you don't. You don't need to make a recruiting video. You may have a specific problem you need to solve, and video's the answer. Like, I'm a huge fan of video. I think it's compelling and great and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But this generic 2-minute, let's do a branding video. Like, what problem are you trying to solve?
Right. Hey, can we go back a bit? Sorry, because Audra just missed the bit she normally does, which is like, how did you end up where you are, and what's your experience? And
sorry about
she
that.
somehow missed that because she's so excited about the topic. I'm like, how did you
right in.
talking about video? We don't know why you should be allowed to talk about video. So can we go back a stage and explain why you are the person to talk about this the best? How did you get here? How did I
get here?
Yeah.
I started my career at Procter & Gamble in brand management, right? So I'm a classic consumer packaged goods marketer.
Right.
And among other things that I did at P&G, I worked on Ivory Soap and a bunch of other products, is we made TV commercials.
But the soap didn't talk, which was quite handy.
It did, but we did some fun stuff. We washed ducks with soap and took all the oils out of their feathers so they sank. There's just there's stuff you can do for fun.
Yeah.
But one of the things I learned at P&G is you need to have a purpose and a strategy. You never accomplish something if you don't know what you're setting out to accomplish.
Yeah.
So I had all this great training in marketing, and I did a lot of recruiting because I wanted to pick my own team because I was really picky. So I got involved in recruiting, and I understood that what good recruiters do are the same things that good marketers do, right? There's just a different product to sell. They know who their target audience is. They have a communication strategy. They understand their competitive strengths and weaknesses, all that kind of stuff. Good recruiters are markers.
Yeah,
but you
just
look
their
at,
product talks back.
Right. You look at, and the whole reason, I run SparcStart, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And the whole thing about it is you look at, okay, we're going to go out and we're going to convince people that this is a great job for them, and we're going to send them paragraphs of text. And you go, really? Like, when was the last time you bought a car because somebody sent you the owner's manual? Oh, wow, look at all these features. This is cool. Like, what are we doing?
No, we advertise jobs like the ingredients on a Coke can. Like,
Right. It's like, someone sends you the ingredient label of some great food, and you go, oh, I really want to try that.
Yeah, I'm going to buy that. No,
you don't. All this design stuff. So
if you read what's on a can of Coke, you'll never buy it.
No. You make me now fess up that when I left P&G, I went to work for Pepsi, where I did more marketing.
Either.
And don't
have some sugar and acid.
But God, I got to admit, sometimes that caffeine hit is exactly what I need.
Yeah.
But anyway, as humans, we understand how to persuade, we understand how to educate, we understand how to do all that kind of stuff. Then you get to recruiting, and we're using job descriptions. Like, oh, seriously, those are documents written by legal. No one's ever read an entire one. Even if you chain them to a chair, they don't do it. So, and then people go, oh, we can't attract candidates. We can't get people to respond to us. And we're sending them a job description. Okay. So that's where the whole video comes in.
Where it goes the other way. It made it into the book, of course, has to make it in the book, all this stuff. There was a branding agency that did this amazing job description using the dreadful Adele song Hello, which everyone loves. Sorry, whoever I just offended with that. And they did this amazing video and then sent them to a linked job description. And I'm just like, you went from a Facebook creative video and sent it there. Why didn't you just send them to CV inbox? Like,
So, I mean,
crazy. I think they forget to step through as well, even when they do come up with something great.
Heineken did the same thing. They had a really cool, massive, fun tool, game. I forget, and it was really cool. And then they went boom right into like iSims, and it was the most boring job description.
Yeah, I know. And then they lose them there.
Yeah. So, but let's get real. We all understand there's such thing as, the legal department and compliance, and they want all these. It's like, fine, put that somewhere. But
Michael Cox just wrote that. It's because legal wouldn't let it go to the job.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, and we've learned, don't fight legal. Happy, what is it? Happy legal, happy life. When legal's happy, life is just easier.
Same with IT. Always be nice to IT.
But I can't imagine a small branding agency even had a legal department to worry about this stuff with.
No, but
sometimes I think that's just a lame excuse.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah,
don't mind me.
But so you got to put it there. But if you're gonna persuade anybody, and the other piece is just credibility.
Yeah.
That's when you talk about what's the bad stuff out there. And we'll get to credibility. So anyway, that's my background. That's how I got here. I'm a big believer in video. I mostly roll my eyes at most of the stuff that's out there. I'm sorry to say. I grit my teeth at the money people spend on stuff. And I'm really tempted to take a bunch of this stuff and either white out the company name or bleep out the company name and run a test and say, okay, here are 7 corporate, recruiting videos. Tell me what companies. Because I'll bet most people couldn't. They're all kind of, I love my job with blah, blah, blah. I have so much responsibility. Yeah, they're not dreadful. And nobody watches them.
That's one of the main problems, though. If everyone says we have the best people and the best culture, then what is the point of the video? They're all saying it. Who cares?
Yeah, it's dreadful. So
what do you think of the SodaStream one where the CEO pops out and all the bottles fall away? I actually really love that because he's taken the piss out of himself the whole way through.
It's fun.
It's fun and it shows the culture. But I'm curious to know what you think because it's a bit cringy, but at the same time, I really love it.
Oh no, I think it's great fun video. But I'm going to go back to being the school marm here and say, what is it you want this video to accomplish? If you want to raise your profile so people think about you as a possible employer, then I think it succeeds completely. If you want to convince, your hard to fill role, full stack developer people to come work for you, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
So we're back to what's your goal and did you accomplish it?
I think that was to raise awareness.
Yeah.
Think about us as an employer.
Yeah. They're
emotion. Any kind of emotion.
Yeah, at lots of places that video can be really effective. It's when you just go out there and try to go, we just need a video. You miss all of them. It's when it's like onboarding. An onboarding video is very specific. You know what it is you need to communicate. Production values don't matter, that kind of stuff. It can be an easy way to do it. That can be great, but it's a very different animal than your just brand awareness. We're jumping ahead to things that I like. There's a UPS video. I think it's 12 seconds long. That just
sorry, I just got distracted by Debbie's comment. Sorry.
Oh,
sorry. I think she's talking about that dreadful Hague Associates video. If you want to convince people that you're a total pimp who spends his days jet setting with his brothers, did you? I don't know if you ever saw it. It was a really embarrassing recruitment agency here in the UK that was apparently.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still around. It can still be found on the internet.
It's awful. But anyway,
sorry, that was so rude of me to interrupt you like that. It was just terribly funny what she wrote. Debbie, stop it.
No, please. Yes, if you're going to make fun of people, don't do it by name. Just that video. awful. That's the hard thing. But, so there's good stuff. As I said, I like the UPS video. They did a 12-second, and it's just, think about us. We're a huge global organization that does amazing logistics. Because you think of UPS as, I don't want to be a driver. It's like, let's think about everything behind that. And it gets on your radar screen. And I think it's terrific because it does what it sets out to be.
I gotta see that.
Okay, so actually,
Yodel do a really good one that's two of the drivers talking, but it's the fact that she's quite genuine. Like, I get tired. It's literally, she says it in the middle of the video. I was like, that's really cool. I haven't seen the UPS one. I'll have to pull it out.
Well, actually, I'll make it easy for you. I'll announce here. We've just launched a video gallery on our website. It's SparcStart.com/video gallery. And we've put up some of the ones that we think are terrific. And they range in length and purpose and all of that. And anybody who's on right now or listening to this, if you've got a video that you've seen that you think is really good, send it to us. We'd love to show good stuff. So it's everything from really short, things to some longer ones. There's actually one by Walmart they did for driver appreciation. But God, if it doesn't make you want to be a Walmart driver. Nothing I consider as a career, but I watched that video and went, oh man, that's...
We were trying to work out how much, was it Walmart that's done the video with all of the different cars from all the different shows? How much did that cost them to get the license? Then there's the rest of us who just have a phone. That's our access to video.
That's okay for recruiting. We're big fans of informal video because it's more credible.
Yeah.
Right. So, Audra, you talked about how credible is some of this stuff, and the worst thing is when somebody reads the script and puts 7 adjectives before a noun.
Yep.
So I've always said to any of my clients, which sort of sounds a bit crazy, but particularly when I was just doing like the 2-camera videos for my training, I would jump up and down like over there, sit down, straighten my hair, and I'd aim it like this, and it would come out like this. It was just, I was like, you have to put your energy right up there, like you're yelling at a huge audience, and it'll just come out like normal. But the trick, I think, is to really shake yourself up. And I think people get in front of the camera and get really nervous.
They get really nervous because they think they have to give a presentation or give a speech, and they use language that isn't normal to them, so they trip over it. And or they've told you've got to get these 6 copy points in.
They're made to say stuff.
Like if we say to clients all the time, if you've got a positive culture, let your people talk. Get out of the way. Let them talk. It'll come through, and it may not.
If you have a positive culture, there's a big problem.
Right.
And if you don't use video, because you're either going to end up inauthentic or it's not going to come through. But if people genuinely enjoy their jobs and you get out of their way and let them talk, they'll do just fine. If they're unhappy, you shouldn't be spending money on video. You should be fixing your
working on it.
That's right.
And if you don't know how to start with that, I suggest reading your Glassdoor reviews. Right.
One thing I always compare, like if you think about an employee with their phone and people worry, it's not fancy enough or it's not produced. But I always compare it to unboxing videos where if you have a commercial of an iPhone, nobody's ever going to watch that. They're going to fast forward with their DVR. But if you have a person opening it with their phone, showing what's actually inside, it gets 1 million hits. So that's like the best way to say, like, we don't want to hear brands saying it. We want to hear the people saying it. We want it to look real and not produced. One agency actually suggested that we use actors in the video. Isn't that amazing?
No.
And a well-known agency too.
Oh yeah. I mean, it happens all the time. But the other thing is, it's not only the production values and all of that. It's the relevancy. Is this information that people care about? Because, guys, do you care about Anna in the San Diego office talking about how she likes her job, or Jose in the Mexico City office? Like, if you're never going to work in those offices, you're never going to interact with those people, you just plain don't care. They may be lovely people.
Yeah. What's the problem you're solving, like you said?
Yeah, right. If you want to educate someone about an opportunity, you got to talk to them about that opportunity, not about the company as a whole. We say all the time, you look at how people, and we're looking at the attraction piece of it, right? You look at how people evaluate a job when it comes across their radar screen. And the very first thing they do is they say, does this job make sense for me? Is it the right level? You know, if it's a recruiting coordinator job, for most people, it's like, oh, I'm way past that. End of story. It doesn't matter what the company is, what the company culture, like end of story, wrong job, not doing it. So nobody wants to see your recruiting video about culture. Like first you got to convince them there's a job there they want. Yeah. And then, you know, they want to put it in context. But these generic kind of things don't really do it.
What's that stat, Audra? Then 97% of people land on your job pages first.
Yeah, they go
92.5 or some ridiculously high figure anyway.
They go everyone comes from some other site like Google or Indeed or wherever. Take your job descriptions that stink. And your fancy video is on your career site. No one's seen it.
Yeah. I mean, Career Builder did that study. They reviewed 5,000 job sites.
That was
and 1.5% of people ever watched the corporate video. I mean, that's the other thing. You look at the money that's spent and said, how many people have actually seen this? And everybody should know the answer to that question. Yeah. You should know how many times your video has been seen. And if it's not on a dashboard, you can get to somebody in your organization. I mean, this is simple Google Analytics. Somebody in your organization knows exactly how many times that video has been watched. Yeah. Divide it by what you spent for it, and then just mail people checks for $30 each. You're going to get their attention a whole lot faster.
Yeah. Like Jose's written, look at our people playing ping pong.
Yep. Yeah, we keep our videos super, super targeted, like you said. And also we look at our hiring plans.
Well, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you land straight on them.
And they're really specific. And we look at our hiring plan for new videos and we'll say, okay, in Q2, we need to hire maybe research people in Dublin. Boom. That's going to be our video. Or and something to do with it. It might not even be a person. Our best video was actually about a new type of thing called Kubernetes. And it's really exciting for developers to use it because it's kind of new, this open container source. So we did a video on what it is, and people who are using similar things, are going to Google that, what is it? And then boom, at the end it says, hey, this is how we're using it and you can come join us. But that gets like 1,000 hits a month just organically because it solves the problem. It's not about us.
And it's a funny video as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's a great example of you had a purpose, you knew what you wanted to communicate, you communicated it. And I don't care if you shot it with your phone. It's successful.
Our intern filmed it.
Yeah. On the phone. Yep. Was it on a phone or on a camera?
No, it was actually a camera. But I mean, it was an intern. Talk about low cost.
Yeah.
I mean, all the SparcStart videos are recorded on phones and they're self-recorded. So there's zero production cost. But they solve a specific communication problem. So, you get there. And it's not to say that you can't do full, I mean, there are times when full production is appropriate and called for and all that kind of stuff. But when you get back to the
we were talking about with SodaStream, when it's like just a general raising awareness. And I only think that's credible because he takes the piss out of himself from the beginning.
Yeah, it's fun.
If it was the polished, oh, hello, we are so fabulous to work for, it wouldn't have done that. Whereas he actually showed that he can laugh at himself quite dramatically. So,
yeah.
My absolute favorite is when employees are doing high fives. I've actually seen that. I've actually seen that.
I like the ping pong tables or the foosball. There's actually one. I reached out to the head of TA and I said, I've just watched your corporate video, and it's entirely people on skateboards, people on foosball tables, people at the snack bag. There is no depiction of any work here.
Does anyone actually work?
No one sat at a desk. No one had a computer. No one even was pretending a meeting. All they did was play. Like, summer camp, yes, sign me up.
What did this person say?
I reckon you're sort of like losing half of the people because so many people do not like that environment. They don't like the open plan. They don't like the pressure to play. I can't stand open plan offices.
But that's fine then, because you're opting in or out. So if that's really, if they really just are skateboarding all day,
every company thinks they need to come across as a Google with a big open plan office with slides and swings and you name it. So sorry, you were saying something, Maury. You think you're our guest, but we keep taking over.
I'll battle with the best of them for her time. Yes, to Audra's point, you want people to make an intelligent decision to opt in and opt out, and video can do that really well. But if you really want to hire people that are going to produce, they take pride in their work and they want to know they're going to have a chance to do good work. Millennials get all bashed and everything about not wanting to work hard, and that's nonsense.
They want to work as hard as everyone.
Yeah, everybody wants to be proud and feel like they're accomplishing something. So there's a balance there, and being realistic about the fact this is a job. We do expect you to show up. We do expect you to do productive work, and hopefully get satisfaction out of it. But they try so hard to be cool and hip, and God, sometimes they miss so badly. Occasionally they do okay, but
probably because it's the Gen Xers trying to pretend that they're hip and cool, maybe. Taking the piss out of my own life. So what about I've got my hiring manager all bought into this, and I'm going, okay, come on, we're going to do a video job description, not a job description, but you know what I mean? Yeah. How do you get them to not talk in the monotone then? Any suggestions? Obviously, I've told you about my jump up and down, but I can't see a hiring manager doing that.
We've got thousands and thousands of videos on our platform that the hiring manager's done exactly that. So there are a couple of things. So the first thing is you do not script them. Do not hand them a script. Do not overcoach them. Because even if you say to them, start with, hello, I'm Katrina Collier, I'm the host of, you'll mess it up because you've told them what you say. Start with your name and what you do. They can do that, but they can't say, hello, I'm Katrina Collier. So don't script them. The other thing is don't worry about them coming across like some game show host. We've had people going, oh, we just can't put Fred from IT on here. Like, it just won't happen. People recognize their tribe. The folks from internal audit, they are a different breed than your salespeople. Yeah. And if you really like internal audit, and that stuff like gets you excited, and that's what you want to do,
doesn't have to be exciting.
You relate to that, but your salespeople who are out there and in the trenches, they relate to that. So we all try to judge video by what would appeal to us. I'm a little injured. I move around. I use my hands. So someone who does this is not quite my thing. But that's okay. You're never going to hire me for internal audit. I'm just not the right person. Yeah. But people really do. You get. I love particularly some of the IT guys. They're straight out of central casting, right? They've never combed their hair. The shirt has never been ironed in its life. And you go, oh my God, we're really going to go out with this guy on a video. But the reality is,
out there, I actually only brushed my hair for the first time today before I came on the show. I'm like, oh, so you don't brush it, and you've just said that. I'm like, oh my God, that's me.
but you don't work in IT, because if you did, you wouldn't have combed your hair. But for the developer, he or she went to school with people who wore shirts like that. They have never ironed their shirt. Like, that's their tribe. So there's a little piece of kind of trusting your employees to be genuine, and really trusting the whole idea that credibility matters and credibility sells. And if you ever want to get into retention issues about people who are a good fit and actually come and stay and are productive, you got to stop lying to them up front. Your IT guys don't iron their shirts. They don't. So
whenever we're organizing a video, we get that question from people that we asked, would you be in it? And they always say, well, what do I wear? And we always say, wear exactly what you're wearing right now or today, because we want it to be like legit, and don't wear like a company t-shirt just for the video. If that's what you wear, hey, that's fine, but just wear what you wear.
That's cheesy. Michael Cox has got a question here. Oh, it was a question there, and then somebody wrote something and it moved. Does this zag away from stuffy videos work well for big companies that are stuffy?
That's interesting. Maybe if they're boring and horrible, that's who they are, and that's okay. I hadn't thought about that.
I'm sure Michael is not at one of those companies. He has way too much personality.
There's a piece here. You got to be real. If your corporate culture is very formal, you need to show that. If people are still in individual offices, if it's very quiet, people are still kind of dressed business more than casual, you want to attract people who are going to be comfortable there. But that doesn't mean it can't be, it needs to be scripted and you need to make it phony. If you're formal and if you're, kind of very professional, show that in the video. But that's not the same as stuffy and generic. Those two things don't go together. Yeah. You can still, you can still have people come across with some personality and come across with, it really is amazing how different corporate cultures are. I've been in and out of dozens and dozens of them. And even though they're big enterprise organizations, there's a different feel to them. There really is, but also the microcultures. I'm a big believer that there's no such thing as the corporate culture. You walk into R&D and it's different.
I was at Accor Hotels yesterday, and they're saying to me, like, we need to do exactly this, like lots of videos, get a bit more into 2019. But like they're saying, they've got so many, from the Savoy to your Ibis budget, funky that barely have a reception hotel, and it's like every single one is, like you said, the little micro culture. And it's like, how do you do that? And I'm going, well, you have to do them separately. You have to target the video at the person for that hotel, not the person for all. You just can't.
Perfect example of they don't need a recruiting video. They have no need for a recruiting video. What they need to do is
find their advocates, don't they? And then have them for each individual place, almost.
There is not an employee who is not walking around with a high definition camera. Every single one of them. You have thousands of them that can do a 20-second, really short, brief introduction that says, "Hi, I am Maury. I run Keynote. I'm looking for somebody who's really excited about digital marketing. If you want to be involved in this, please reach out to me." Done. That's all you need to do to really just get somebody's attention.
And then where do you put those, Maury? I mean, you put them in lots of different places.
She's obviously going to say it her company, but
right. You think your own landing page versus on the job description or both?
I feel pretty strongly you need to connect it to the job description and an apply now button. Like, do not post it on YouTube and make them then go to your career site and make them search for the job. And every time they click, you're going to lose half of them. So you don't want it in isolation. That's great for, kind of awareness building, but most people in TA have measurable objectives. They're trying to actually hire people. I think YouTube is the graveyard for videos. If your distribution is, we're going to put it on YouTube, unless you've got a real plan to drive traffic there, YouTube is fine for hosting, but just putting it on YouTube doesn't do you anything. There are 4 billion videos on YouTube. So you need it. You need to have
and have sent you a CV. That's it. No obstacles.
Yeah. Right.
If they have CVs, of course, like somewhere like Accor, they probably don't. They probably just need to go, "I'm a chef. Here's my phone number." Like, a couple of lines in a box, not.
The best one I've seen, Brady Trucking, a client of ours, they have a website with a phone number, and there's no application. You call, there's a live person who says, "Hi, do you have the required licenses? It'll take us 3 days to confirm that. That's all we need to know. Thank you." They check their driving record and that kind of stuff. They never have to type in their name. They really want to hire people. And they went back to, what do we really need?
Disaster wall. I'm going to dig out a video that's for trucking in the US that I found, that I did a compare and contrast in the book to Yodel and their driving video, because they're so different, but they're perfect to compare and contrast. But I didn't name and shame. I thought I'd be nice, but I'll send it to you. It's terrific. It's absolutely cringeworthy. And there was definitely no person sitting to wait and take their call.
No. But the question about, sort of where is the video? How's it going to drive any results? Once you've got somebody interested, if you've got them just isolated out in no man's land, they've seen this video and they don't know where to go next. That's the other piece of it. They don't get watched on the career site by and large. So where are you going to put it? Is it on social media? And again, but even on social media, you don't want them sitting on Facebook going, "Hey, that looks kind of cool. Okay, now how do I find this job? How do I apply? What do I do next?" Make them go that many steps, and their
that many steps on the phone as well, because so many times you do it on the phone and then you get stuck again at that search thing, and then the search thing is so confusing. That was another problem they had. I walked in and said, "Before we even have a conversation about this, have you tried to apply?" Like, wow, this is so slow. And I'm going, "I've got a fast phone. I was using 4G. This is what your staff will be doing. They're not using a desktop, because they're not like that."
Right. And some organizations have gotten really good about understanding the difference between, sort of initial applications and then collecting all of the qualifications and so forth, and making it kind of a two-step. Let's make it really easy to get them into our pipeline or whatever. And then if we need the more, if they they make it through the first 3 questions that we really need to know, then we can go back to them and say, hey, look, we've pulled you onto the short list. Would you be willing to give us some more information because we'd like to consider you further? And then people fill out the longer nonsense stuff. But doing the long stuff just to go into the black hole, nobody wants to do that.
Yeah. It was so I keep talking about Yoda because just Ben Gladhill, he's so good at this stuff. So, the video that is so natural. But if you do land on their career site, their chatbot will screen you out as well because they're always looking for the same drivers. So that's a driver-related question. And can you carry 30K? No, I can't. Okay, you're out. And it just tells you. That's really cool as well. But again, really simple. No hassle for the candidate. So
and the candidate would rather know that.
Yeah.
If you give them good information, they'll make a better decision to opt in or opt out. We see that all the time. We had a client who had a 6-month training program that everybody went to classroom before they started the job.
Wow.
And they were getting all these people who applied because they never read the job description and didn't want to go into classroom, so they'd bail out during the phone screen. But then they put in a video and they talked about it in the video, and they found they got fewer applications, but when they did the phone screens, a higher percentage were getting through to first rounds. So you don't want more applications.
Yes.
You want the right ones.
Nobody wants more applications. So and nobody wants to apply to more jobs. We get back to candidate experience here. If you give them enough information so they can understand, they will opt out and not clog up your funnel. And video can do that if it's short. Yeah. Can I rant for a little bit about length?
Yeah, I was just going to say something that might go quite well with that though, because Lee Kandioshi has written here about just asking people to be themselves on video, as hard as that might be, which was perfect. But it also went with Steve had written a comment on a serious note. Almost everyone believes that branding must be perfect. So when we want these short, genuine videos, how do we get marketing on side? Because, you guys are forward-thinking marketers. They're not all like that. Tips for that? And then you can rant about the length.
Not that I rant much. I
do, so go for it.
All the time. How do you get marketing on board? If you've got good marketers, who understand that credibility ultimately sells. Yeah. And you start to put together a body of employee-generated videos. And, you want somebody to look at these to make sure no one says anything that's proprietary or all that kind of thing. So you need an approval process baked in here. But you shouldn't have trouble bringing marketing with you when you understand you want something that's measurable. I mean, you can go out and say, look, if we put an employee-generated hiring manager video into our job description, I can measure that we're going to have a 60% increase in conversions from visitors to applicants, right? I've done this with zero cost to film the video, and this is driving our business results. We're getting qualified people to apply. Show me another way to do that, and, I'm sitting here and talk to you all afternoon. But this is what works. So yes, and if people talk about, oh, well, our employer brand is this blue, footer on all of our things. It's like, oh God, that's a graphic element. It's not an employer brand. Your employer brand is your reputation in the marketplace. Yeah. That's your employer brand. Yeah. It's what people think of you as a place to work.
It's what people
it has nothing to do with graphics.
About you.
Yeah, right. It's not your tagline. It's not your graphics. It's what people think of you. And your employees talking about the job and the opportunities and so forth influence that employer brand. And there's, I don't know, any other way to build it other than credibly let your people talk. Yep. You can write lines all the time. I'll give you a quick, short example that I just loved. We had I'm going to do a coworker video for a Spark. It was 11 seconds long, and all he said was, "I've only been here, but management really listens to your ideas, so you have an impact. So if you want to do that, it's a good place to work." And I went, "Wow, fabulous!" Like corporate communications could have sat for months and tried to write something that was going to come off as that genuine, that impactful. That's the kind of thing that builds an employer brand. You get somebody, and he wasn't particularly eloquent. He wasn't particularly good looking. He filmed himself against a window, so he's a little bit silhouetted. Production values were awful. Man, that just blew the doors and windows out. It was a great piece of video because it was real. It said something that people were interested in, and it drove people to apply. I rest my case.
So you want videos to be 11 seconds long? No.
But I have one other tip is I made a mistake once with a video where we usually provide like some kinds of questions just for ideas ahead of time so people can kind of think about it a bit. Not scripted whatsoever, but just some ideas about some questions. But the video ended up too generic because the questions were like, why do you like working here? Well, they said, well, it's a really great place to work. Or, they said these generic things. So one thing I've learned from that is when you're filming is to just dig deeper. If someone says, ask for examples and stories, because those are so much more powerful than, saying generic things. You say the people are cool. Tell me about one of the people that you work with, every day and why you like her or him. And just the more examples and stories, I think, make it more authentic and much better.
The thing that we built into SparcStart is to get the hiring managers to think about it from the candidate's perspective. Why would they want the job? So it's, not I'm looking for somebody with XYZ, but, in this job, you'll develop this expertise, or you'll get this kind of training, or you'll have responsibility for this kind of global whatever, or you'll work with this kind of technology. This is still marketing, guys. You're not trying. You're trying to persuade them to learn more, to get engaged in your system. So, and that can be hard for hiring managers to stop and say, why would a candidate want this? Never mind about what your requirements, why you want to screen them out. And
I see you saw the delightful British Army job posts. So Audra and I had a huge argument on Messenger because I read them one way based on my Army friends and their reaction, and she read them another way. And that was the problem. Actually, the what's in it for the person reading the advertisement was completely not there at all. On top of not being clear, on top of it could alienate or not, like really unclear. But the what's in it for that person was just completely and utterly missing.
Well, so there's your first test. If you've produced a recruiting video, if
it was
if
only
you don't
£5 million to produce.
That much money?
Wow.
Yeah, videos and the ad and the thing, but 1.5 million. Anyway, sorry, yes.
It wasn't even video. It was just graphics.
No, video and graphics. The 1.5 million. That campaign was 1.5 million.
Did you ever see the video for it?
Yeah, the videos are awful. They make you cringe. Yeah.
I want to see the video.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. You were just going to say something.
Yeah. So, but if you've got a hiring manager who looks at you blankly when you say, "Why would a candidate want this job?" Why would somebody either leave a perfectly good job and come take this one?
Yeah.
Or why would somebody who's got lots of options take this job? And that's not part of their mindset, so they look at you blankly. And we sort of say, there you go. So is this really a sucky job? Is this, oh, no, this is a really good job. It's like, okay, why? So you could do those kinds of prompts to get them to think about, why is this, why would somebody want this job?
Why would someone want to work with you? Like, in your team?
Why would somebody want to be on my team? Again, if you've got essentially a positive culture, if things are bad, this isn't going to work. But if you've got managers who, are really thoughtful about their people and give them opportunities, and, that's what's going to come through. And you can do it in now I'm going to get back to length because I really want to talk about length. You can do it in under 30 seconds.
Yep.
Anybody who's done a 2-minute recruiting video, stop. They're not going to watch that long.
Well, I have one question about that, for real though. Yeah. Say it's 2 minutes and people drop off at 30 seconds. What's the harm in that? If the good stuff's at 30 seconds, who cares if it's long?
I never listen to 2 minutes. 1 minute's about my maximum.
Well, here's the deal. The research says we look at the length of the video. Let's say right now I sent each of you a 9-minute video. Said, oh, this is really cool. You look at 9 minutes and go, I haven't got time for a 9-minute video. Right. You don't watch it at all.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And they don't even click on it because it's too long. It's like, I don't have time for this. A 17-second video? Oh, okay. So here's my example I give all the time, and my staff is sick of me talking about this. But last spring I went to Portugal on vacation and stayed in my all-time favorite hotel, Buscasco, which used to be the King's Hunting Lodge. And it's wonderful if you ever go stay there. But based on that description, if I sent you right now like an 11-second video on Buscasco, you'd probably watch it, right?
Yep.
If if you were planning a vacation to Portugal and you wanted to figure out, did you want to drive the hour out of your way to go stay there, you might watch a 3 or 4 minute video on Buscasco. And if you actually had a reservation there, you might even watch a 20-minute video about the building of it, the history, all that kind of stuff. So your willingness to watch it is directly related to your investment and your interest. And the same thing happens in jobs. You know, if you're just trying to get people's attention and get them to like consider your job, you got to be under 30 seconds. If they've already accepted the offer and you're telling them how to get on your payroll system, they'll sit for an hour. You can keep them. It's like, how do I get that paycheck? You can drone on your production.
I'm going to swear, but how fucked is your system if it takes you an hour to get on it to get paid?
Right now, you tell me how to collect my $100,000 check, I will sit here all afternoon.
I know,
and
but
watch
you've got to admit your system's screwed if you cannot get on it.
But so when you're making video, it's like, how committed is someone to your process so far?
Yeah.
Like if somebody's coming in for an interview, I mean, Delta Airlines, they used to have a wonderful video and they took it down on the interview process that told people what was going to happen. It told them how to dress. It told them, you know, what, and I forget how long it was, but it didn't matter because these were people who had already been selected for an interview. They were coming in and they watched it. It told them how to speak.
I think there should be much more advice out there.
Where did they have
kind of
that
stuff.
video?
On the career pages, probably.
Where was
No, I think what happened, and this happens a lot, their team got sick of it because it was a couple years old and they burned out. So they wanted to update it with something new and something different. It's like, oh, guys, you had a wonderful, wonderful piece of video that just worked.
I love Booking.com have got a great, it's just a graphic that like shows, you know, if you're coming in for this role, what steps you'll go through. And it's a bit like a tube map or a metro map. Just really cool. I think there should be so much more of that out there.
Right.
So like that transparency of this is us and you'll come in and you'll be like this. And also that awful thing of, you know, so many times it's dressed down now and a recruitment agent won't know what to send them in. So if it actually said, hey, we all dress down, feel free to walk in and whatever you want to wear. If you want to wear a suit, great, but we don't wear them. You know, it's like, there should be more of that.
I mean, the best thing about the Delta thing was it said, come dressed in red, white, and blue. That's what our flight attendants look like. Yeah. We want to visualize you as a flight attendant, so help us do that. Thank you. Put it out there. You know, put the blue suit on, throw the red scarf around your neck, and you're good.
I'd be great. I just wear my jeans. Like I wear everywhere.
So the length thing, we go back to, what are you trying to accomplish? What's your goal? You know, is it prepping people for the interview? Is there going to be a case study? Do you want to give them a little information about that? You can make it longer. Is it just get on their radar screen? Man, it's got to be short. It's got to be under 30 seconds. If it's onboarding, drone on as long as you need to drone on to give them the information. But do it purposefully and, you know, and get there.
But it's interesting because Michael Cox has written again, like just like employee handbooks, we bookmark info on payroll or else never gets eyeballs. So they probably will watch the onboarding video, but not really watch the onboarding unless it's about how do I get my Mac and how do I get paid.
Watch what's relevant, what's interesting. So, it's wild. So,
we had a good question about, I think it was ROI. Who said that?
I didn't say that.
Our metrics, like what are the best metrics? How long they watch, or obviously views is important, but also tracking them, I guess, to whether they apply if you can, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and then if they make it to the hiring manager and they get hired, even better. Because they're the wrong people applying.
Right. I mean, and that's one of the reasons we do Spark is you put it all together so you can measure it all the way through to hire. I'm not sure. I mean, views are an interesting thing to look at, but unless they translate into real, it's conversions. And it's is it the right people? To be honest, I think the best measure is in the yield on your phone screens. So you go through and a recruiter goes through and does a first round phone screen, and inevitably they get people who go, oh, I didn't realize it was that level. Oh, I didn't realize it was that much travel, whatever. And they pull themselves out. You've had a massive failure somewhere in your communication because you didn't give them that key information and you just wasted a recruiter's time. Or it's too low, whatever. Or the other piece is they're really not qualified, and you've flushed that out. I think one of the interesting things that video can do when you get to tech people, if you have a hiring manager who, even in a short video, says, we're a Python house and we're doing, we're working with this kind of technology, whatever, and speaks the tech. Mm-hmm. What we've found is for someone who's taken a weekend Python course and thinks they can kind of slide by, they listen to that hiring manager and go, I'm not getting through this interview. If that's the person I've got to interview with, I don't begin to have the Python skills to do that. So they opt out. So you may end up with fewer applicants, but more qualified. And that's what you want to do. So I think that yield on your phone screen. Are you attracting the right people? Are people opting in or opting out? That tells you if it's working for you. It's not as this cool or people watching it kind of thing, but is it really helping you, focus on those folks who would be good employees and are going to fit and do all of that. So if you've given them relevant information that's honest, so they can make a well-informed decision, then you've got something that's really good. I don't care what it costs you or how long it is, that works.
I saw a stat as well. Maybe it was that same Career Builder study that said that really they want to hear it from the hiring manager as well. They don't want to hear it from the recruiter, even the in-house recruiter.
Yeah, Lighthouse Research and Advisory, Ben Eubanks did a study. Yep. And the person they want to hear from is the hiring manager. They don't want to watch a corporate video. They think it's a commercial, and they talk about it as corporate happy talk. Everybody's, we're all happy, we're all winning, we're all successful, we're all the number one in whatever. They want a hiring manager.
No, but it wasn't. They didn't want to hear the recruiter. So that makes it quite challenging when you've got recruitment agents who are now trying to use video.
I think you've got to put the hiring manager in there.
But they can't because their hiring managers over there at the client.
Oh, so what you get the hiring manager at the client to record the video, and you still run the search, but the video's got to be of the hiring manager. Who they want to hear from.
Interesting.
Would that give away the company?
It can't. I mean, what we recommend again in a Spark video is that you give your first name only, and because we don't want candidates reaching out to the hiring manager, so you say, "Hi, I'm Chris.
Right.
I run the development group."
Or I'm putting Chris in the company name. Boom.
Well, if you don't put the company name, if you've got an agency who's not displaying the company, you still get Chris. Could someone figure it out? Yes, but
they can probably edit that bit out. Yeah, right.
Yeah, there are a lot of Chris's who have that stuff.
And as Michael said, put a bag over Chris's head. Maybe not. I think it goes back to if you've got a really strong relationship with your client and you as a recruitment agent talk in such a way that you know your stuff, the client, you've got that candidate will be loyal to you. They don't tend to go direct because often they want you to negotiate salary. A lot of people think they will automatically do that. They don't necessarily.
Right.
So,
but
interesting.
The hiring manager is absolutely critical, and the candidates understand that the recruiter is a transitory person in their career, an important one. The smart ones understand they're important. But what they really want to hear from is the boss, because that's the person who long term is going to make their job either frustrating as all get out or really satisfying.
Right. Who doesn't want to meet their possible future boss?
Right.
That's like that their whole life is going to be about this person. I want to see what they look like, what they sound like. Do they look nice, or what are they?
I'll admit, we tell all the SparcStart clients when you're reaching out to candidates, you use the clickbait, meet your boss. Click below to meet your boss. Because even if you're not looking for a job, it's like, who is this joker who thinks they're going to be my boss? So you click on it, and you get to talk to them, and you get to tell them about your job. It's, we're all curious about who this person, can I work for them? What's their kind of thing? Yes, it's perfect. It's clickbait. I'll admit it.
I think
it works. It absolutely works. And you get people to pay attention to your job, which is part of what you're trying to do in talent attraction.
Yep. Love it.
Okay. Have we had questions? We've talked nonstop.
Yeah, I know. That's what the show's about. So, in my case, Friday afternoon chit chat for an hour. I always get off really energized as well. Then I have to do things like quickly get the podcast going. When I'm not, I'm buzzing from all the questions. No, they were gone really quiet. There's something interesting though when you were talking about length, because this is obviously quite a long show. And when I was sick last week, I actually listened. I didn't watch, but I had it on and I listened the whole way. But I was doing sort of other bits and pieces, and I actually asked how many were actually watching us. And of course, the people who are watching us would have seen that in the comments, and very few actually replied. So most people must be just listening, which was that hour thing. It needs to then be a podcast. It then goes a longer one. I can't just sit and concentrate on a video for an hour. And that's why I think that, sorry.
And since we're talking about video, there's a reality of, is this visually interesting? I mean, the three of us are gorgeous, let's be honest. I mean, we're just lovely women to look at. But a solid hour of looking at the three of us with, you might start to glaze over a little. Despite the dynamic presentation we make. So I mean, but people do videos. Actually, I watched a video. It was a production company for videos, and their About Us video was a proprietor sitting and talking about all the creative things they do. And it was just a headshot of the person talking to camera, which can be very effective. But I thought, if you really want to demonstrate all the creative things you can do, maybe you should show some of the creative things you do. I can put a camera on a tripod too.
Can we just have an off-topic question? What is it about the muffins?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the muffins on the side chat.
Steve Levy has an obsession with muffins, and he doesn't normally, so I'm thinking it's something to do with you.
We'll see.
Oh, blueberry muffins. Okay.
Sorry.
We need to know. I'm going to have to tell the stories. I have a weekend house outside the city. I live in Manhattan. I have a house out on Long Island. And one Sunday morning, my family wasn't up yet, so I'm on Facebook, and Steve Levy posts a picture from the East End of Long Island. So I go, Steve, are you in the East End? What's going on? He goes, where are you? I'm like, I'm in my house. He goes, great, I'm 5 minutes away. I'm like, I'm sitting at the kitchen table in my bathrobe going, Steve's on his way. Quickly change, throw some blueberry muffins in the oven. And he stopped by, and we had a really lovely Sunday morning.
I actually saw that update. It was like you must have dropped off and gone into direct message, but it was very funny because I saw the start of it and it was like left hanging. So are you actually making up or no?
She was running to make the muffins. That's awesome.
Right. We got the muffins going, but what you didn't see was I'm in my bathrobe.
Oh crap! I've got 5 minutes. Yikes! I wanted to throw in one more tip about video because we have a few more minutes.
Yeah, we do.
One thing I think really works well for us is when we're asking a person some questions, or they're reciting how they feel about something. Usually, there's like a moment when they start to talk about one thing and their eyes kind of light up and they get a little excited. Boom, that's the stuff. So then I drop the questions completely. We keep, asking more and more about that because that's something they're passionate about. And you can see it on the video. It makes a big difference. Some things aren't passionate about, let's be honest. And it comes off as like kind of yucky in the video, but you could always just see when someone like gets excited about one piece. And I think that's good.
They sort of sit up, don't they? That people, it's body language. If you can't even read their face, they sit up.
Mm-hmm. That's part of get out of their way. And stop trying to script them and stop giving them these points they need to cover. And, this goes back to your question about marketing. When marketing wants to do the brand.
See, these are our talk that in the podcast and not watching because I just did a great face.
Get out of their way. Let them talk. There's a piece of them. They come to work every day. Work's a huge piece of our life. We get satisfaction out of it and accomplishments and all that kind of stuff. If you can tap into that, if you can find out what you feel good about, what was a project you're proud of, what did you contribute? What impact did you have? What you learn that you didn't know before? If people are coming back at you flat on all of that, again, you've got bigger issues than can you get a good video. But if there's an environment where people are really producing real work, you can find it, they can find it, but it's more about prompts, more about helping them get there, to Audra's point, than it is about handing them the talking points. Here, talk about this. Make sure you cover these things. These are the 6 points of our employer brand. And like, oh God, please no. But you're doing work that you really love. Man, let them go. Just let them go. They'll do the job for you.
And people want to know the nitty gritty, not the, you're going to come in and work on this project. Or as Steve Levy would say, you're going to come in and solve this problem. So.
And we always ask, what is one of the challenges? So we get that side of things, and it's not all great and it's amazing. There's actually this one part that's really hard, and here's how I overcome it or whatever. But I think we always want to show both sides if you can.
Who's going to believe a company that's got a 5-star on Glassdoor or Indeed or Keynote or wherever? You're never going to believe that. Like, come on, no company is perfect. So I think that's really good to do that.
Right. Or maybe here are the problems and we don't overcome them. Like we deal with the fact we've got lots of tight deadlines and they change all the time, but that's the nature of our market. Yeah. It is. And if you're working in the news business, you don't do normal hours. News breaks when news breaks, if you're working in, whatever. So people, one of the ones, good examples, I love waste management's job descriptions. I'm a big fan of job descriptions. But because right in their job descriptions, I've seen them say, this is an outdoor job. You will work in extreme temperatures and inclement weather. You will often be away from home for periods of time. They lay it out there. Yeah. And good for them. This is not a desk job where you're in air conditioning all day long and you've got to perfectly clean. You're going to be in dirty environments.
And if you have no sense of smell, that's much better for you.
Actually, one of the oil companies did the same thing for somebody that inspected like oil tanks. Yeah. It's like you're climbing down in these big oil tanks and, it's dirty, grimy work.
Oh, yeah. That would be an interesting video if they were actually covered in oil at the end of the day. Yeah. Like, hey, but, here's some good things too. Covered in oil, but.
Right.
I've just pulled myself out of that. Right, we have just a couple of minutes.
I dropped in.
Oh, would you? Oh, God, no, I might get it up my nails or something like that.
I'd rather have oil than poop.
I'd rather have neither. Right, just quickly, because we've got 5 minutes to go. Chad, 1/2 of Chad and cheese we have next week. Is that right? And we're having a bitch fest or something. Audra booked this. I have no idea what we're talking about. What are we talking about?
It's a super surprise, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun with him. He's always
it's a super surprise to me. That's more worrying.
He always has it like it is, so it will definitely be fun.
Oh, awesome. Cool. So,
I think you mentioned your website, but want to throw it out there again in case someone missed it. In the middle, it was kind of in the middle of the show.
Oh, sure. The website is SparcStart.com. It's SparcStart.com. And if you go there, we've got a video gallery up. We've got all kinds of videos that we think are terrific. It's just SparcStart.com /video gallery. And we've just sort of started this, and we've got all kinds of examples up there, but are really open to others. We are not going to put up bad ones. In part, that would take servers and servers and servers worth of data to put up. But we think, there's lots of places video works and can work well. Our product is a piece of it, but it's just a piece of it. But we're big believers when you do it well, but please start with a purpose. Please start with a problem to solve and don't go out and spend X number. What we didn't talk about was cost. Can we do this? We got 1 minute left.
Yes.
Audra, were you the one that told me someone quoted $15,000 per minute of video? Was that am I remembering right?
Yep. That was the one that also suggested the actors. I won't say
to pay for the actors. No wonder it was so damn expensive.
I thought that was hilarious. I mean, that better yield a lot of application or hires.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to someone recently. Just they said, "Well, we've only got a budget of $25,000 to produce a recruiting video." Like, oh, okay.
Right. I could work with that.
They should go to Capita. They charge like that. Anyway, sorry, I shouldn't say that out loud. Right. I know it's crazy. Yeah. Maury, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. Always. I love talking to you guys. I love that.
Very great. Just a really quick shout out because Steve did mention this. 2 hours after our show, so that would be 5 p.m. for here in the UK and middle of the day for everyone on the East Coast. Steve is coming off Twitter in front of video for open mic career chat. I'll have to actually read that out.
I'm about that. I haven't heard that it's going to be video.
Yeah, it's going to be video going forward, so that should be really cool. And it will be here on our Recruiter Zone. So super excited about that. And did you say that's from next week? From next week. So I can do heckle payback. Bring it on. Right. Yeah, that's really fun. Thank you again. Thank you everyone in our comments channel. Thank you, Audra. We shall see you all next week for whatever this.
Great. Thanks, Audra. Great to see you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Bye guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.